There is quite a powerful theory slash headcanon that has been travelling around the Dream SMP sphere for a while now. This theory suggests that Tubbo is the son of Jschlatt, and is a quite popular headcanon, even though I'm pretty sure it was either deconfirmed or is not canon. And I've been wanting to make a theory about this for a while now, but I haven't really had any good ideas until recently. Personally, this theory, although it requires a little bit of stretching, I think it fits perfectly into the Dream SMP world, and makes a lot of sense for out-of-canon decisions by creators. So, before we jump into the theory, if you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you so much, and if you're subscribing right now, thank you so much, and if you don't subscribe, silence for you. But that's fine, you can not subscribe, I do mind. My entire worth is based on numbers, but that's just social media. Anyway, on with the theory. Now, first off, we have to kind of look at the evidence. Why do people think that Jschlatt is Tubbo's father? Well, because of several different key interactions, like how Jschlatt says, "I love this guy, my very own Tubbo." He speaks about Tubbo in a very sympathetic way, almost like a father speaking to a long-lost son that he's trying to reconnect with. But something about that theory doesn't make sense. Why on earth would he put his own son up for execution? Understandably, his son is technically a spy, but still, that's a pretty harsh thing to do to your own son. And that's why I think this theory fits a lot better, so without further ado, let's actually get into the theory. At the beginning, Tubbo is abandoned in a box and found by Filza, who takes care of him as if he was his own child. Years and years later, Jschlatt returns because he wants to reconnect with the long-lost son that he's heard so much about. Jschlatt left just after his son was born and never really got a good look at him, and now years down the line, for whatever reason, out of guilt or out of necessity, he's looking for his son. He begins investigating around the Dream SMP on who his son could be, eventually coming to the conclusion that his son is Tubbo. And since Jschlatt is quite a renowned politician, he decides to hatch a plan. He will run for president, become president, and then he will reconnect with his son and finally become a father, meanwhile also gaining a large amount of political power. Jschlatt accomplishes this and decides to banish Wilbur Soot and TommyInnits. Now, this is a weird thing for him to do. Why them specifically? And I think it's because he thinks they're taking Tubbo away from him, they're distractions. TommyInnit is Tubbo's best friend, and Wilbur seems to be an older brother figure, possibly even another parent figure, and Jschlatt doesn't want any competition, and so he gets rid of them, making him the only father figure to Tubbo. However, at some point, something goes awry, and Jschlatt realizes something. Tubbo isn't his son. He knows this by finding out his real son, which is a surprise to him and most. You see, Jschlatt had known that Tubbo was cohorting with the enemy for a long time now, but however, since Tubbo was his son, he didn't do anything about it. But now that Tubbo is no longer his son, he has no use for him, and decides to execute him. Who better to execute Tubbo, his false son, than his real son? He calls Technoblade up to the stage. That's right, Jschlatt is Technoblade's father, and Technoblade is Jschlatt's son. The first thing that keys you into this is the fact that why would he bring up Technoblade? He literally has guards and people that will work for him. Why would he take Technoblade? Technoblade is a specific choice. Not only that, Jschlatt specifically says, "We go way back, right?" Which Technoblade replies with, "I don't know, what do you mean?"
I only call you in for special favors. I mean, we go way back, right?
I don't know what you mean.
Wait,
It's been...
Jschlatt, what are you actually talking about? What?
Although it could be a joke or a spur of a moment thing, it could also make sense, and here's specifically why. Jschlatt found out that Techno was his son. During Techno's offline period, where we didn't see him stream or online for a long time when he was constantly collecting resources for the Poctopia War, Jschlatt confronted Technoblade, stating that he was indeed his father, and attempting to reconnect with his son. However, Technoblade knew that Jschlatt was his father the entire time. In fact, this is the reason that he started to hate governments in the first place, because Jschlatt left him when he was born. He left his mother to pursue political power and became possibly presidents or political candidates in many different countries, as we see him constantly wearing a suit and tie. But after Jschlatt confronted Technoblade, Technoblade specifically told him, "No, you're not my father, you never will be, and you never were," which causes Jschlatt to go into a deep spiral, becoming depressed and beginning to drink again. Not only did he execute his false son, who loved him a bit more, but now his real son despises him for his actions that he only wished he could take back. And so Technoblade's life timeline kind of looks something like this. Technoblade is born by his mother, who is probably of pig origin. Jschlatt leaves very soon after to become a politician and to pursue political power. Techno's mother then dies when Techno was a very young age, and Techno grows up to become a warrior. His surrogate kind of family was with Wilbur and Techno, who he hung out, but mostly Technoblade was alone. He didn't know Philza at this point. Technoblade grows up alone, becoming a warrior and fighting in these things called Sky Wars. He gains scars and trauma from his constant fighting and running away from his past, and running away from the place he was born, out in a shack in the middle of nowhere. At this point, he meets Philza, who saves him from this cycle of violence and decides to help him and calm him down, becoming his only friend. Then Jschlatt returns, saying, "I'm your dad, come live with me, we can be powerful together." Jschlatt obviously is insulting Technoblade as he ran away from him, never calling him or coming back or helping him, but Philza did. And now Jschlatt wants Technoblade to destroy his friends and betray them and go with him. That was insulting to Technoblade, and so Technoblade insulted Jschlatt back, possibly even killing him off screen, which solves the one less canon death, because technically Jschlatt dies canonically 2 times. But this could solve for it, as in maybe Jschlatt, when he went to confront Techno killed him, meaning that he only had 2 canon lives. Techno is also incredibly quiet when they're in the drug van confronting Jschlatt, almost like he has something to say, but he doesn't really want to say it. Technoblade is also incredibly distressed from this. Even though Jschlatt was a terrible father, he was his father. This causes Techno to hide his emotions, but to become incredibly distraught. This leads to him wanting to blow up L'Manberg, even if they didn't really create a government, as this could possibly be where he was born, or in the area of where he was born, although I prefer to think he was born in the snow shack. And that's the story of Technoblade and Jschlatt. Technoblade was raised to be a monster because of his very poor upbringing, of how his mother died, and how his father left him for political power. So Technoblade in his stead states that no one else should leave, that governments should not be above the people. Neither should discs. People should always be above anything else. Technoblade his whole life has been called an animal, not only for his pig appearance, which could technically be a mask, although I think it's actually his physical form, but it could also be because of how much he fought and hurt people and killed in the Sky Wars. So that's what gives the "I'm a person" at the end of L'Manberg such weight, because Technoblade knows that he deserves love, and yet he hasn't been given it, and the little he has been behind strings, attachments, and control. His only true friend is Philza, and that's my theory. Personally, this is my headcanon now, that Jschlatt is Technoblade's father. It fills in some gaps that Tubbo, being Jschlatt's son, doesn't, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe if you watched all the way through. That would help me out a fuck ton. It would really make me happy, and yeah, I notice every subscriber, don't worry, I notice every single one of you. As soon as that number goes up, I notice that one of you is not going to the abyss. Also, thank you to all of my fans on Discord and everything. I know some of you who have subscribed to me before don't want the Dream SMP content, and I have some content coming up that isn't Dream SMP, but I hope the guys that are watching this and do enjoy Dream SMP will stick around for that, because I think that, you know, I have higher quality videos coming out soon, and yeah, I just want you guys to have a great time. Join my Discord if you want, links down in the description below, and yeah, see ya. I should probably do my outro. So I'm going to see you guys anomalies in the next video, and if I don't, I'll see you in the next life, and if I don't see you there, I'll see you on the flip side. Bye bye. That was terrible.